Hey, what's up everyone? Matt Cross here from mattcrosscoaching.com, and today we're talking about how to resolve conflict. I've got a simple framework that you can start using right away, so stick around. All right, so hey, last week we talked about conflict resolution and why it's so important as a leader to be able to resolve conflict. I outlined a few of the typical problems that surface when you fail to deal with conflict effectively, and I would encourage you to go back and check out that video if you missed that episode. Today, though, I want to share a simple framework that I use with all of my coaching clients to help them quickly master this competency. And the framework is really simple. Whenever conflict arises, you need to do three things. You need to assess it, you need to address it, and you need to resolve it. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. You have to assess the situation and ask yourself a couple of very important questions. First, you want to know, what is the source of the conflict? Now, conflict can surface and take on, it can come from many different sources. There can be, sometimes the source is the product. We're in conflict about what should be done, what should be produced. Sometimes we're in conflict about the purpose or why we're even producing what we're producing. At other times, we care more about how things should be produced or when things should be produced. So we're worrying about process or progress. And unfortunately, far too often, conflicts kind of snowball and they turn into more of a personal thing. People's egos kind of get in the way, and it's important for you as a leader to really understand that and see what is the source of the conflict, because once you do, you can really start to understand the outcome that you want to achieve in light of that conflict. If the conflict is around product, then the resolution starts to surface very quickly. You can see that we need a product specification. If we're in disagreement or we have conflict around purpose, then we need to sit down and have a conversation about why we're doing what we're doing. If it's around progress, then the resolution becomes very clear. It's something like a schedule. But the problem that I think we all face is sometimes when you're dealing with a conflict, right, while we're assessing it, we misdiagnose. We think because we're concerned about the schedule, everyone else in the room is concerned about progress in the schedule as well. When in fact, they're in the room worrying about why we're even doing it. They're not clear about the purpose. Or sometimes somebody's in the room and they're just arguing with you over and over and over again, and you can't quite understand like where they're coming from. Usually it's because they're thinking about something that is personally happening to them. Okay, so the relationship might be damaged and needs to be improved. And you think this is all about purpose. They just don't understand why. It is so important for you to first recognize, what is the source? And then second, what is the outcome that we actually need to resolve that source of conflict? Okay, once you learn how to do this, it becomes so much easier to address the conflict, because you can say things simply like, I think we're in disagreement about the schedule, about when this needs to be done. It seems like we're not making the progress we should be making. If it's around, purpose or why, you can say, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation about why this is important. It really becomes easier to address once you understand the source and once you understand the outcome that you're moving towards. Now, I want to just quickly share this great quote from Sun Tzu, which is that the skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting. This is kind of a mantra that you might want to post on your wall and think about as you go forward in dealing with conflict. Sometimes you don't have to resolve conflict through tension and fighting all the time. Sometimes you can outflank your opponent, and the best way to do that is by really getting clear in that assessment phase of what the source is and then what outcome we're trying to go towards, because that helps you resolve it so much easier. The last thing we need to do, the final step, is to resolve it. But as I mentioned earlier, it's way easier to resolve if you know what the source is. So here you go. That was another tip from mattcrosscoaching.com. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back next week.